if you're interested in the slides, if you're like me, when I was at school, I really hated the fact that I didn't know what was coming next. If you're the type of person who's like, Doug, get on with it, I want to know what slide comes next, you can have a look. So go to bit.ly/mn-moot-IE-UK19. That should work on all of your devices, and you can have a sneak peek and then either listen or not to what I've got to say. Just if you want to tweet, then my username is @DJ_Belshaw, and the hashtag is, as usual, MootIEUK19. We've also got a very original hashtag for MoodleNet, which is hashtag MoodleNet. Okay, without further ado, this is my team at Moodle. So we've got myself. I live in the northeast of England, just north of Newcastle. I work 4 days a week for Moodle. We've got Mael de Borniel, who has just moved from Athens in Greece to France, and he's a technical architect. He works 3 days a week. Alex Castano, and you'll start to notice a theme here, who has just moved from Barcelona to Andorra because he loves skiing. He works full-time at the back end. And then Ivan Minatillo, who has just moved from Naples to Rome, and he works a couple of days a week on the front end and on the design of MoodleNet. Martin told me that, and told all of us, that we should have the Sustainable Development Goals in our presentation, so here we are. I think MoodleNet particularly focuses on quality education, obviously, because that's what we're doing at MoodleNet, but also I think sustainable communities. That's what we're trying to develop with MoodleNet, and if you haven't come across MoodleNet before, let me explain in a bit more detail. I want to just get into 3 different things, because I've only got 20 minutes of your time. I want to talk about where we've been, I want to talk about where we are now, and obviously I want to talk about where we're going next. So in terms of where we've been, any kind of project gets lent magic pixie dust if you put a picture of Mary on there and quote her. So that's what I'm doing here. You can also see this on the blog. I'm not going to read this out, but you can see in the bottom paragraph, she talks about the existing Moodle.net, which is kind of built into Moodle Core. You can search Moodle Core right now at the moment for Moodle.net content. And she talks about how the fact that we have useful content uploaded, but wouldn't it be great if we had more educators sharing more resources? So back in January, I pulled up the data, and actually Gavin helped me with this, and Mary as well, and just asking about all of the courses and the things we've had uploaded to Moodle.net between November 2010 and January 2019. Now, if we just put a bit of context here, we've got, what, over 100 million users of Moodle worldwide. These are not spectacular numbers. These are not fantastic numbers by any means. There are people sharing things on there, but it's not lots of people lots of the time. You know, if you look at the number of courses, that's like 1 course every other week being shared on Moodle.net. So we need to do something about that, because we know that the Moodle community is all about sharing, and so we're obviously doing something wrong with the tool. So the way that Moodle.net works at the moment is that it's all focused on individuals, it's focused on resources like courses, and it's focused on searching, like a transactional experience. That's what Moodle.net is built on. So I just want to talk about where we are in terms of how we're trying to conceptualize MoodleNet with a capital N, which I'll try and emphasize when I'm mentioning MoodleNet instead of Moodle.net, and just how we're trying to differentiate with that. So MoodleNet, as you saw Martin talk about this morning, is all about professional development and open content. And it's a social media platform. It's all about being social. It's not a transactional individual experience. So it's about communities. It's about collections of resources, not individual resources. And it's about discovery, which I hope to tell you a bit more about in a moment. This is the plan. This is, a standard kind of plan for how you develop these kinds of things. You conceive what you're doing, and you plan it out, and you develop and iterate and test and launch. So I want to use that as a kind of a way of structuring what we've done. We've done loads of stuff, and if you go to blog.moodle.net, you can read a post that we've put on there every single week since the Moodle last year, actually. So MoodleNet is content agnostic, and what that means is that if you want to create a collection, that collection could contain 10 courses. 10 Moodle courses. It could be 10 PDFs, it could be 10 links, it could be a mixture of all of these things. It's content agnostic. You can put pretty much anything you want in there. It's focused on communities and collections. It's not focused on individuals. It's not a popularity contest. It's not like Twitter or Instagram or something like that. You're part of a community, and you are acting in a professional context to curate collections of resources. It's open source. It's actually AGPL, which you can have a nerdy conversation with me about afterwards, but basically means that someone can't just take this code, run it on a server, and then not contribute the code back. It's going to be federated, and I'll talk more about that in a moment. And also, we're working on Moodle core integration right now. So when we did our research around MoodleNet, what we found is that people are proactive and reactive. I'm an educator. I taught history for many years. I've worked in higher education as well. My wife's still a teacher. All my family teach. And when I've talked to people, not just anecdotally, but as part of the research process for MoodleNet, we found that people broadly do two things. They are proactive. They go out and search for things, but they're also reactive. They join social networks and they follow the right people so that one person said it's like waiting for treasure to arrive. So they follow the right people and they wait for resources that they didn't even know they were looking for, but when they arrive, that's exactly what they wanted. So Martin, as you can see, bought a lovely shirt actually when we did this design sprint, lovely silk shirt on the street where Outlandish are. Outlandish are a co-op based in London. Last May we did a week-long design sprint and we had a prototype ready by the end of the week, and that really put some rocket fuel under what we were doing. It was actually Mayel, you can see him down the left, second from the left. It was his first day. That design sprint was his first day, so a bit of a baptism of fire there. And Brian Mothers, the tall guy in the previous slide, drew lots of stuff and continues to draw some stuff for us. And we were kind of thinking about personas. The Open University was talking about this before, and trying to really get under the skin of all the research we'd done and some of the people within the Moodle community. People came along. So Andy Field came along, Miles Berry, Jess Gramp, our very own Mary came along to do some user testing. And at that point in time, it was Martin, myself, and Mayel along with Outlandish in May 2018. We did some prototypes, just some mock-ups, that kind of thing. And then we got Alex on board. And Alex is a back-end developer. And we made the controversial decision to build MoodleNet in Elixir, not in PHP. And that's because Elixir is very scalable. And we can have a nerdy conversation about that later on as well at the party over drinks. So we started doing some work around this, and then we got Ivan on board. And Ivan is a very expressive, very creative kind of guy. And we started thinking about what this could look like. We finished our work with Outlandish and started working with Ivan. And we started prototyping and started putting things out there of what we could do. So version 0.1 went out there right on the last day of January 2019, mainly because Martin had said this will be ready by January 2019. So that went out on the last day, and we started testing. And some of you in this room started testing with us. Thank you for that. We tested it with about 100 people in English and about 100 people in Spanish. And we quickly got feedback from what they liked and what they didn't like. And people said things like this: I can certainly see a use for it. It encouraged me to think about being more serious when I'm collecting and curating my own work. And the simplicity and ease of use made it better than my current system. And the social aspect is something I appreciate. So this is version 0.1. So we kind of iterated from there. At the end of the first cohort, so 3 weeks from the end of January 2019, this was the question that we asked after the first week. So 7 days into MoodleNet being a thing, and over 50% of people said yes, they definitely would start using MoodleNet, and about 30% saying maybe, and 11% saying no. And then cohort 2, which was more like the end of February, by that point we're up to 64.5% of people saying yes, this is definitely something I want to use, which is great. And so when we asked people, well, could you describe MoodleNet? How would you describe this to a friend or colleague? And you can see some people are saying that it's a resource-centric social network, hence the image you saw before, a learning community management platform, all the kinds of things which we hoped that they would say after we tested it. So we moved on, and we started iterating MoodleNet, and in March, early March, because Martin, again, kept on telling us that we needed a mobile site, we prioritized that, and we made sure that it worked well on mobile, and it continues to work really well on mobile. So we've got that in March 2019. And then, oh, I need permission to view this video. That is rubbish. That's because I'm not signed in. I probably should have tested that before I came on stage. Never mind. Well, I'm going to... what should I do? I'm going to come back to that. I'll show that at the end. But basically, what I wanted to show you there... Oh, I know what I can do. The wonders of the open web. There we go. Thank you very much. HTML5.
Hello, it's the Belshaw MoodleNet here.
I'm going to turn the sound off, and I'm going to talk over my own narrated video. Here we go. So this is version 0.9, which we pushed out yesterday. We're calling it version 0.9 alpha. We're not going to get to beta until we get to federation. But basically, what you've got now is a home feed. So just like Facebook, which I hate with a passion, you've got some kind of home feed so you can see what everyone else is doing. The other thing that we've got is we've started thinking about how people are going to use this platform and the kind of discovery nature of this. So, for example, if you wanted to see Emma has joined the MUA, you'd click on that and find out more about it. So lots of feeds and timelines and that kind of thing. The other thing that we've done, when I wait for my own video to catch up with myself, is that we've started implementing more of the Moodle color scheme. We are working in an agile way as possible, and we've got some theming going on now. So we've got a dark mode. This is going to make it really easy for you to theme MoodleNet however you want. When you install MoodleNet in your institution, you can make it look like your institution colors, and you can change that theme really, really easily in the CSS. So MoodleNet is built on communities and collections. And so you've got communities curating collections of resources. We've changed the UI so that all of the stuff's happening at the top instead of in the sidebar, and you can follow collections and you can see what's going on. This here is the profile, so you can see everything that I've done on MoodleNet recently, and then the same happens for anybody that I'm following. I can go to their profile and I can see what they've been working on recently, the communities that they've joined, the collections that they're following, and when we have liked resources, we can start seeing that as well. So if I'm interested in Matthias and I click on H5P for language learning, I can start seeing that community. It's a discovery mechanism. That's the whole point of it. So I'm going to stop that there. Okay, there's lots more. If you're interested in that, then you can come to the workshop tomorrow. If I can go back to that one there. That was slick, wasn't it? Right, so in terms of where we're going, well, we're not even in version 1 yet. We're still in alpha, and we've got lots of things that we need to do before this is something which you would use in your institution. There are three main things. First of all, the search. Obviously, you want search because you want to be able to find that resource that you're looking for if you're in that kind of like hurried, just let me find that resource kind of mode. But we want that to be found in context. We don't want people just to have a transactional relationship. We want them to see that this resource exists in the context of the community and maybe start interacting with the community and finding all of those wonderful people just like you do on Moodle.org. The other thing which is being worked on now is a Moodle Core plugin. Obviously, there's two elements to this. I've found a resource in MoodleNet and I want to put it in my course in Moodle Core, and I want to share something from Moodle Core and put it in MoodleNet. We're focusing on that first use case to start off with because we think that that's going to be what people do most of the time, take something from MoodleNet and put it in Moodle Core. So you'll go into Moodle Core, you'll search MoodleNet from a file picker, preview the resource and pull it straight into your course with the attached metadata, not only where it exists on the web, but also where it exists in terms of the community on MoodleNet. Now, the thing which I talked about last year, which I want to talk about this year as well, because it's not an obvious thing, is federation. And this is the ability to have multiple MoodleNet instances, which are all sharing resources together. So your institution, instead of it being a silo where you share resources with other people at your institution, you not only do that, but also share them with the world. You might have seen this a couple of months ago. Facebook have said that they're going to integrate, I don't know if they've done this yet, but they're going to integrate Instagram, Messenger, and WhatsApp. And that's great if you use those particular products, because it means that you can start sharing information between your Facebook products. If you didn't know, Facebook owns Instagram and WhatsApp. So that's wonderful, but what happens if you're a user of Twitter or WeChat or Snapchat or LinkedIn? You're outside of that walled garden. And that's in the exact opposition to something like email, where email works everywhere. My email address is doug@moodle.com. If I email your Hotmail address or Gmail address or whatever, I don't have to wonder whether that's going to work, because email is built on open standards, the kind of thing that Martin was talking about in his keynote this morning. This is infrastructure. So the kind of infrastructure we want to build on, and if you were at my presentation last year at the Mood, you'll have seen me talk about this, is ActivityPub. ActivityPub is basically an inbox and outbox protocol, which is a W3C standard for social networks talking to each other, not just the ones which are owned by the same company, but all social networks. And you can go and find out more about it at activitypub.rocks. So the Free Software Foundation, our friends, because they're part of free software and open source movement, say that federation means that different nodes can talk to each other using the same protocol like email. So there are already lots of social networks which are using this. Some are very, very small, but awesome, like Misskey over there. If you haven't tried Misskey, it's a Japanese social network, and it is crazy but awesome. But there's also one which is actually quite large, which is Mastodon. 2 million users, 1,500 instances. And when you go to joinmastodon.org, it's not a binary like, are you on Twitter or not on Twitter? It's, well, which instance are you on? And so there's one for academics and for artists and for musicians and for activists and all different kinds of people. But they all federate together, and you can follow people across different instances, just like you'll be able to do with MoodleNet. So why are we doing all this? Well, it's because we're trying to develop stronger relationships around the world between educators and between the Moodle community and educators more generally. I'm going to skip that one for the moment because I haven't got time, because Mary's given me the 2-minute warning. But this is kind of where we are at the moment. We have a single instance of MoodleNet and a staging instance for testing. We've been doing some testing, and once we've got federation sorted out, which is an extremely difficult thing to do for the kind of resource sharing social network that we're building, once we've got that sorted, we're going to be looking to work with Moodle partners in the first instance, but also organizations, individuals, people who want to set up a MoodleNet instance, so we can test that out and then start building what is going to be potentially one of the world's largest social networks, which is going to be an extremely exciting thing to do. Now, if you want to know more about this, if you want to get your hands on MoodleNet, you can do that. But the only way you can do that at the moment, unless you're an existing tester, is to come to the MoodleNet workshop tomorrow at 2:30 p.m. And I've also suggested, quite rashly, a badge as well. So if you come along, not only will you get a MoodleNet account, but you'll also get a very rare badge, which you'll be able to display on your Moodle.org profile. Please do bring a laptop or a smartphone with you if you're coming along to that. And if you've got any questions, then I'm not going to answer them now. I'm going to answer them in the workshop tomorrow. Or you can email me, doug@moodle.com, or you can tweet me at DAJ The canonical link for MoodleNet, which will change in terms of the website it redirects you to soon, is moodle.com/MoodleNet. It currently redirects you to the wiki, but it will redirect you to a home page, a subpage of the main Moodle.com site. Thank you very much.